Thank you for taking the time to view my hobby. On display since 2008 is a collection of my miniature scenic dioramas and artificial trees. Many of the dioramas are placed on wooden foundations. The topography is encapsulated in plaster of Paris sheets. They're painted and sculpted with a variety of artificial flora and fauna. Some of the animals displayed have been fashioned from plasticine clay. Artificial plants have been modified, twisted, tangled, trimmed to fit each particular landscape and to create a variety of small trees. Each of the approximately 24 dioramas has its own theme. Among them are woodland scenes, craggy mountains, lush primordial Mesozoic forest, an oasis, Native American and Eskimo villages, snow-covered winter landscapes, underground systems of caves adorned with fluorescent stones, and model stalactites and stalagmites. There's much diversity among the many sculpted projects, each in a way revealing its own story. Some parts of the dioramas are electromechanically operated. In some cases, a push or a flip of an electric switch is all it takes to create movement. I'm going to demonstrate some of the things, and I hope you find them interesting. I thank you for taking the time to visit, and like most art genre, ample viewing time must be spent if one is to truly appreciate the detail within each project. On display, there are 24 artificial trees. It was just a serendipitous idea that I would create trees. So here's 3 of them. Some of them are actually newspaper, in other cases actual bark and artificial plants. Some of them are even illuminated. This is a single pole, single throw switch, so I should be able to operate this other tree. There's no special reason for having the lights, it's just an idea that I had. In some case, they represent bonsais, which are Japanese miniature trees. These are artificial, though. Let's take a look at some of the specific projects, the first of which would be my impression of a place in Africa on the eastern coast, Serengeti. And many of the items operate electrically. So I'm going to get down on the floor here, and you'll see an alligator jumping at a fish. There's a and obviously I have a CD player operating the noise. The sound over to your left has some swinging monkeys. And then over here I have a tiger. And over here should be a mongoose jumping up. And we have a chimpanzee to the left. Climbing. It was just fun making these things. There's a lot of detail in it. And Serengeti is a natural preserve in Africa. And it actually is made up of marshland and desert and forested areas. This has it all. The next project, over to the left top, is one of the first ones I had done. It's an Indian village, and you can see the fireplace blinking away. And I'm going to put my hand under here. And there should be an Indian on a horse getting ready to hunt a buffalo, which is to the right, across from him. Moving along, I have a dear friend who actually came from Korea and taught me some Korean. And so this is a memorial, or actually a living tribute to our friendship. And this is fake water. And although you probably can't see, there's 3 artificial fish in that fake water. It's a polymer. It's 2 chemicals mixed together that create long chain molecules, and they solidify. And it gives you the impression of water. A lot of detail, a lot of labor. Okay. We'll talk about serendipity. I just had the idea of doing what you're about to see. I'm going to, it's a little park scene. There's a little dog by a water fountain, and he's being a bad boy. Urinating against the water fountain. To the left of that is what I call Le Parc. Why I named it a French name, I don't know, but that was the idea that came to me. And there are some things that work electrically. So I'm going to take this magnet and put it by this switch. And I use a variety of switches, if for no other reason, just for the sake of being different. So this works that fountain. And then to the left of it is a elevator that's going up with a person in it, obviously a little miniature plastic replica of a person. And they're getting ready to go up to a viewing stand and go back down again. And then we have, I move the magnet switch to the center, and you can see the lighting all around. There's another switch that operates the basketball court lights, but we'll move on. This represents a lot of different folks of different ethnicity and age. You have seniors, you have a handicapped person in a wheelchair, youth, young children, children on a slide, and children on a merry-go-round here. And you see how fast it goes? I'm going to put on a speed control device so that I can regulate the speed. I don't think anybody would want to go that fast there. And if I take my hand and put it under the project while different things are operating, let me see. It's a motion detector, so I just put my hand in front of the sensor, and that's what created the music for that period of time. By the way, all these things are laborious, but it is a labor of love. Down here, we'll just say that this is a more or less of a still life. The only thing that you can see operated is the house with that's illuminated. We're going to go to the next project in the interest of time. And this is Le Chateau, another French name. And this building should light up, and I'm going to just operate a couple of things. So among them, we have a cable car, where people go skiing, they have cable car. And you can see people being transported up, and we can reverse it and bring them back down again. And then over here is a pond, and there should be a little fellow on ice skates. And actually that's a piece of plastic that's been painted blue. Underneath is a motor. On the shaft of the motor is an extension, and it has a magnet. So as the magnet passes underneath the plastic, the ice skater is affected by the magnetism, because on the feet of the ice skater is a little steel washer. So as the motor turns, so does the skater. Okay, and there's a lot of illuminated trees here. The lights, I don't think you'd be overly impressed with that, but we'll move along. It's one of my favorite projects. I'm going to switch positions. This is a winter scene, and everything has a name, so this is Wintry Solace. It just popped into my head to give them these names. Throughout the project, there are many bears, these white polar bears. And in the back, there's one that I made out of clay. He's got red eyes. I do a number of things with clay. And if I work this switch, let's see where. Looking for. My snow machine, homemade snow machine. You can see the stuff coming down, all the snow, fake snow. Just turn it off for a second. So here. To this, there's some electromechanically operated features. Take a look at the bear and the cub on its back. Goes for a ride. And then over here, the bear coming out of the cave. Where it goes back. These are double pole, double throw switches.
Can you do one more time?
Goes out, comes back in. When I invite people to come here, one of the things that's important in science is observation. Being a skillful observer makes a big difference. So I asked them, how many animals are depicted in this project? How many animals can be seen? And if you were to count them, there's a total of 18. And the one that they usually miss is this bear down here with a fish in its mouth. And then they miss the two bears at the top there. There have been a few kids who have counted it accurately, and they often come with their parents. And I have yet to find an adult who counted it correctly. Moving to the left, we have a representation of an oasis. So here's a little body of water. It's the fake water. I made the camel out of clay, and these are from trees that are found in the neighborhood. These trees in the back, this is actually newspaper. And these are from sweet gum trees, and they're very sharp. So I guess you can imagine that in an oasis in a desert area, it would represent cacti, and they are sharp. And I know from experience, as you install it, you get stuck sometimes. Moving over to the left is a representation of the Mesozoic era. We're going back, about 300 million years ago. The dinosaurs don't all fit one specific period within the Mesozoic. You all heard of the Jurassic period. That's within the Mesozoic, or Mesozoic meaning the middle period. And so here we have a Tyrannosaurus in the back. He's white. So he's devouring something. There's a baby Tyrannosaurus, if this works. Let's see if he comes up. Yep, a baby Tyrannosaurus. I'll bring him back down. This duck-billed dinosaur is clay, and this Stegosaurus is also clay. And when I press the switch, you'll see the snake moving. And above it, there's some flying reptiles, pteranodons. There's another type they call pterodactyls. They're just revolving. But there's a lot of work that went into this. There's another dinosaur in the back here that was also clay. Moving over to the left, my wife and I are cat people. We had 3 cats. One lived for almost 18 years and passed away, and we were heartbroken. But 11 years later, we got our second cat, Tabby, and Tabby died at age 8 from kidney disease. And I'm convinced it's the food that it ate, and we always spent a lot of money on what we thought was good food. The last cat, which we got a number of years later, was Chipper, and he and I bonded. He was a great friend, highly intelligent, did all sorts of tricks. I'd throw a wad of paper down the hallway about 15 feet, and he'd try to catch it. It never really was successful, but he picked it up, ran to the opposite end of the hallway where I was standing, and dropped it by my feet and waited for me to do it again. The most he ever went was 15 times back and forth. And then one day he decided to pick it up and run past me and dropped it in another room. And that was the last time he dropped it by my feet. So I guess he got bored. Project below is just a representation of, it's called Down by the Water Edge. And let's see. Some more of my clay work. And you can see the rhinoceros and the hippopotamus in that fake water. Below it is more or less like science fiction, and this just represents different creatures. I'll start with over here, the Hydra. I made it out of clay. And here's a dragon. And in the back of the cave, the dragon's lair, our red lights represent maybe candles or some kind of fire, for illumination. And I can work the dragon by depressing this switch. You have enough light to see it coming out. This was not easy to put together because I had to actually break through the back of this cabinet and break through the wall, and I only had about 18 to 20 inches of space to work. But I got it done. And he goes back again. That's the lights over there. It's just a little ornamentation. Okay. Below this, I need to adjust myself. This cabinet, there should be an Eskimo village. And so I'm going to open this door so don't get hurt. I'm going to open this door. It opens automatically. And you don't want to be leaning over when it opens. And this should pull out my Eskimo village. And it's tied off in the back so it won't fall. And there's a caribou being, I don't know, eviscerated. He's being stabbed. And it's clay. And it sits on a piece of plastic that simulates ice. And I painted a little bit with blue strips. These are from wiffle balls. And these are from ping pong balls. So these represent igloos. All the costumes I made and sewed and had the dog sled. So I'm going to push it back in. And I'm going to close the door. And nobody wants to be near that door when it closes because it's violent. As you can see, you wouldn't want your finger to be in the way. So, my shoe came up. Okay, moving to the next project. This represents a story from a book that I read many years ago when I was a kid. My Secret Garden, and there's nothing that moves. It's all still life. It's all just my depiction, my illustration of a secret garden. A lot of details, a lot of time and work went into this. Some of these projects can take as much as 17 hours to make, and you have to have the idea, and then I make some sketches. And then I gather the supplies, and then I lay it out on the paper how I want to have it. And anything electrical, I have to place wires in preparation for completing circuits. It can be tedious, but the final results is very rewarding. So this is what I call Cedar Mountain. These are all cedar trees, and there's a stream and loads of animals, beavers and bears. What's interesting is this feature, and it's a volcano, and it should operate, we hope. Yes, I see eruption. Air is mixing with the liquid, causing the foaming, and rather than have a big mess here, but you can see the lava, when it's molten rock inside, we call it magma. When it comes out, it's called lava. And the cooling process determines the size of the crystals in the rocks. So it's just a fun project. So I'll just show you some features of the sawmill. My model sawmill. So if I work this switch, from within, there's a lumberjack. The door is opening, and the lumberjack should be going up. And we're not gender specific, so I don't know if it's a male or a female. It's a lumberjack. And then I can propose that he or she would be walking across here to get into the building, whatever, and it just shut off. So now I can reverse the process, and the door should go back down. And I'm just about done. And I'm going to take this flashlight, and there's another switch. It's a photo resistor, and okay, that's done. And if I take this off, and there's a magnet that's glued here. The only thing about it is that it just has a hole in it. So I take this flashlight, and it's sensitive to light, and it will complete the circuit, and this person in there should be operating a chainsaw. And I just cover it up again because ambient light may cause a residual loss of electricity. And then over here is another magnet switch, and we should get this grinder to rotate. Okay, just grinding wood, you know. I don't know what I disturbed here. Okay, I'll put this back up here. Moving over here, there's no more wall space. I mean, everything is completely occupied. And maybe I can make this brighter. So this project here is fairyland, a lot of fairies. If I press this button over here, you can see the water fountain, Medusa operating it, and then it goes back into a reservoir, and there's a pump, and when I make the pump operate, then the water comes out. At the far left here, there's some switches. So if I press this switch and close this circuit, we should be able to get so that plastic dome is rotating, and inside there's a fairy. And this is just my light source, which I'm going to turn off. The next switch is the wings of a fairy. And then this little castle has a blinking LED, a flashing LED. And then if I can find the switch in here, which I just found, I have those colorful blinking lights in the back. There's a little fairy on a swing. It's not the best operated thing, but little solenoid that it's an electromagnet with a spring, and it's making it move. And then we have a rising angel. I guess that's high enough. And see if we can go back down the other way. It's on something called a linear actuator. Okay. turn that switch off. And I'm going to turn those lights off too in the back there if I can. This project has a container with water, represents like a lake or a pond or water fountain, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to try to get it to operate. So I use a remote control to get some power into this thing, which I just did. And then I have a CD player here. Flute music, one of my favorite instruments. And then if I move to the left, over here, I'm going to cut across. I'm going to go over here, and you come around me this way. I have some geese. I don't know if you realize it, but a lot of switches, and I've memorized most of them. But I do have labels as well. This one comes pretty close to landing. And then we have a cable car for people. Let's see if it needs a little help. Oh, that needs a little help, I think. You know, I don't work these things every day. So batteries go, things get stuck or tightened. Over here we have a if I can get down. Let's see. Nope. The castle should have lit up. There's a blinking LED by the water. I guess I have to change some batteries. The castle at the top is lit up. These are in Tibet or Mongolia, the structures are called yurts, and that's what this represents. So I don't know whether this is Tibet or Mongolia, north of India. Just my perceptions of what Shangri-La might look like. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off. I'll start with the music. I'll take off the water. And then I'll take the remote control and I'll knock out the power. Okay, this will not be in my lifetime, a landing on Mars. If you are in your 50s, possibly 60s, it's a possibility. I was around in '69 when they landed on the moon, and then nothing really has happened as far as planetary landing. Mars is a hostile environment. It does not have oxygen, so we would have to provide for it. So I have over here a farm that would produce oxygen and utilize the carbon dioxide from the environment. And I'm going to operate some of the parts of this. Use this to help me get down. So you can see a large number of switches, each of which has some function in this project. So let me start with some lights. And more lights. And then we'll operate some different parts. So I'm proposing on Mars, they'll do a lot of mining for different material. So I'm suggesting perhaps titanium, very hard, powerful material, and that they will manufacture it into like steel balls, and they'll do the mining inside that cave there. And so we have lights in there, and we have a drill that does the digging. And then they take those steel, I said steel, I meant titanium balls, send it to the back, and now it's going to be going for storage. So it will go out the back, come up through this rectangular chute, go behind the background material, and theoretically it should be, if it's working, come out through this tube and land in this spot here. So I have to switch positions once again with you. Careful my feet don't trip. So let's see if we can get the titanium ball to rise. Is there a titanium ball in there? Oh, it's stuck down there.
Oh, I see.
Okay, and now it should have landed in there. So let's switch again, and I'm going to turn off some of these lights here, because I'll tell you something, batteries are not cheap. And then I'm going to get out of your way in a second. Okay. So the titanium ball is in that spot there. I'm waiting for the phone to stop. Before the rockets go off, there is a rocket warning signal. And when it meets this, let me bring it back down again. I must have hit it with my hand. All right. When it reaches this, it's a magnet switch. And there's a magnet on the end of this shaft here. And that's what it's causing. So we're sending a warning. And then we should be able to send a rocket up. And I have to get down low here and get even with these things. So, is that thing going up or down?
Down.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was working. Okay, now so we're preparing for the rocket to go off, and if things work out, I'm going to keep my face out of the way. If things work out, the rocket should be ready to be launched. turn it off. You're off? It's off, right?
Okay. No.
Please turn it off.
Turn it off.
No. For whatever reason. Oh, no wonder. I would turn it off. All right, ready for rocket launch? Let's see. You see the rocket. It should go all the way up to the ceiling. Now there's some flash paper here. There we go.
Oh.
All right. I didn't have the paper positioned.
Oh.
Flash paper is paper that has been treated with a chemical. All right. Stinks. Okay, we're going to move along to the next project. There's some other features on this one that I didn't demonstrate. There's an antenna dish that rotates. There's an observatory telescope. It should rise. And we can reverse it. I should have put that on when the rocket went up. Okay, so that's Mars. And there's no real atmosphere like we have on Earth, but maybe we could generate a little wind here to simulate a solar cell moving around on a drone, maybe. Okay. All right, moving down to the left here. This project is called Citadel, meaning fortress, and there's a lot of different features. So I'm going to operate some of the things. I'll start off with these castle lights. The middle one, and then over here, and then there's some cannons. There's one over there that I'm going to aim at you. And it could do 360. There's another cannon over here. And then we have in anticipation of the cannon going off, we had
Oh.
shooting the photographer. Just a lot of fun making this. There's a horse coming out of a stable there. Just comes out a little bit. And that's basically this project here. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect these switches. A lot of detail, a lot of work went into this, a lot of thought processes. I just want to make sure that I have everything off, because I'm notorious in burning out batteries. And the hardware store is thrilled when I walk in. I get a standing applause because I'm buying batteries. They're very expensive. I remember when I was teaching school for close to 40 years, and we bought a lot of batteries for the electricity class that I was teaching. And I used to get it at Radio Shack. And comparatively speaking, the cost was nil as compared to now. And the kids would often go through batteries. The last project is called The Last Dance. And that's this one over here. And I'm going to ask you not to trip. You have that one? I have a funny story to tell you about that later. You can just drop them in the top if you want. No, at the top. Up, higher.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So, let me put on the disco lights. And this one over here. Can't have dancing and music without disco lights. And I just gave you a clue. There's going to be some music, and I'm going to go behind you and around. And if I press this button over here, and then I hit this switch here, and you have the dancers. You turn, you go back and forth. And then over here, let me turn this off, the music. There's an elevator. There's a little screw here, or a nut, and there's a magnet, so it keeps it closed. Because when those ping pong balls fire out, I gotta prevent them from going in here. So people go up the ramp, get into that conveyor, elevator, and then they can go up at the top to watch the dancers. And I can reverse it. And there's a hot air balloon. Actually, it's a ping pong ball, not a ping pong ball, a plastic baseball that's covered with plaster of Paris. And the people here can be so we don't use hydrogen, obviously, and we don't use helium. It's just operated by this fish line that goes to this motor, and it turns very, very slowly. So I'm just going to turn these things off, because as I've said a few times already, I'm notorious in leaving things on, and then I'm faced with dead batteries. So thank you for your patience. I hope you found some interest in some of these projects that keep me busy down here in my bunker. Later on, I will be doing another video, and it is how to construct a diorama similar to what I have. It'll be a step-by-step presentation. Okay.